Hello and welcome to Our Ventura. I'm your host today, Sandra Siepak. Our guest is Darren Kettle. He's the Executive Director of Ventura County Transportation Commission. Welcome to our show, Darren. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Gosh, there's so much about your commission that we would like to know more about. Tell us a little bit more about what you and your staff and really bring to the commission and what your department and the commission is all about.
Well, first, by way of a little bit of background, the Ventura County Transportation Commission was created by state law, so we actually exist in statute. I serve a governing board of 17 members. There's a local elected official from all 10 cities in Ventura County, all 5 county supervisors, and 2 citizen appointees. So that's the governing board I serve. I report to directly. Of course, I like to say I have 856,000 bosses because that's the population of Ventura County.
That's right.
I have a staff of about 22, 23 people that have a variety of duties, but it all is all transportation related in Ventura County. We serve everything from the most local level of dealing with working to try to find funding for bicycle paths and sidewalks, to major freeway projects like the 101 freeway, improvements to that, or the 118 freeway and other freeways in Ventura County. You'll see our buses all over Ventura County. The Ventura County Transportation Commission, or VCTC intercity bus, is probably our highest profile service, but we also do rideshare in Ventura County. We are the call box agency for Ventura County. So there's a lot of things that are happening behind the scenes that the public sees, at least on the periphery, but as part of our everyday life, and making sure that we have a transportation system that supports the community of Ventura County.
Right, and I think that's what people care about, is that everything's running smoothly so they can get where they have to go, and that means you're doing your job effectively.
That's the idea, yes it is.
Let's talk about those freeways, the 101, the 23, the 118, the 126, all of them intersect here into Ventura. Tell us a little bit about some of the freeway types of improvements, things you're going to be planning for the future. What can we expect? What will some of those kinds of things happen for many of us traveling in and out of Ventura?
Well, I'll start with a couple of good news stories.
Okay.
And I think probably the biggest good news story is most recently we cut the ribbon on a major freeway-to-freeway improvement in Thousand Oaks at the 23-101 freeway interchange.
Okay.
That was a very, very big project. It was $40 million in round numbers. And it was a project actually that was at great risk because of a reduction in state and federal funds to be able to make it happen. So we got creative in how we financed it. We worked with the city of Thousand Oaks and to receive a loan that's now being paid back, and the project is done. It's actually done 3 or 4 years ahead of what it would have been if we hadn't gotten creative. So that's a good news story.
It is.
We've also seen some improvements on the 118 and then on the 101 in closer to Ventura. About now, back in 2007, the Santa Clara River Bridge, which is a big project between Ventura and Oxnard. So that's the good news. But when you look at the 101 long term, we do have some real struggles ahead of us. We see on the 101, based on our long-term planning, that freeway congestion, the amount of time we spend in gridlock on the 101, is projected to increase by 50% in the course of the next 10 to 15 years. So that would be putting us out at a date of somewhere around 2022, 2023, that we would be sitting in traffic 50% longer than we do today.
That's not going to make people happy at all.
That is not going to make people happy. And so one of the things that we're trying to do is start on the next phase of freeway improvements. And the way in transportation that works on a 28-mile long corridor, just speaking of the 101, is that we start working on the environmental document to have those improvements made, and the preliminary engineering to figure out just how the freeway improvements might fit into that freeway corridor that's out there today. So we're actually going to be starting that this year. And that takes anywhere from 4 to 5 years to complete. And that's a good news story. Now, what we wrestle with for the 101 in specifically is that after that, we don't have state, federal, or local funding to actually build what could be an $800 million to $1 billion improvement to make improvements on the
Is there a
101.
way to get the funding? Is there a way in the future to secure that?
There could be. Most recently in Ventura County, we did have a local sales tax measure on the ballot that did receive 58% of the vote from Ventura County,
okay.
but in California it requires a 2/3 majority to pass.
Okay.
So that didn't happen. We still will expect to use all of our state and federal funds that we get as the County Transportation Commission. We are the recipient of those federal and state transportation dollars, and it's our responsibility to get them out onto those major freeway corridors. The hard part is that those sources only generate about half the money we need over the next 20 to 30 years
Right.
to make the improvements to the 101 as an example.
One thing is many people come to visit Ventura through the freeway system. So we want to keep those visitors coming, and you want to keep those people happy and getting here. Is that something that you also take pride in, that the people can come in and out visiting Ventura
I think
easily?
I think we recognize that part of our overall economy, as much as it is moving people for
Sure.
commuter purposes and moving goods, is that we have a huge part of our economy is based on tourism,
Yes.
Visitors, and all of our communities in Ventura County benefit from sales taxes that are paid for from residents of other counties that come here to visit. And so making it simple for people to get to Ventura County is part of the overall conversation, and frankly been one of the arguments about why the 101 freeway is so important. I call it the 101 is Main Street Ventura County.
Okay.
And the 118 has very similar attributes going through Simi Valley and Moore Park, but the 101 is what everybody recognizes as it's our critical sort of backbone corridor that we have to deal with.
It is, and I've traveled, some of the different ways to get into Ventura. The 101 is not my favorite. And I would think that many people would probably agree. But I will say that, what you do want is you want people to come here, and you don't want to be discouraged driving here. So I think that's a good thing. We want to keep the roads open and people traveling easily.
Certainly. And, to that point, there's, Sandra, there's alternatives to taking the 101. We are a partner in the Pacific Surfliner Amtrak service that comes to Ventura County.
Good.
We work with other counties in Southern California to operate that Pacific Surfliner service. And there's two different trains that serve Ventura County. There's Metrolink that really serves the commuters of Ventura County that more often than not are going into Los Angeles County for work. But the Pacific Surfliner serves that niche of the population that is using the transportation system to get to someplace for recreational or tourism purposes.
Right.
And so the Pacific Surfliner has as many as 10 trains a day coming in and leaving Ventura County. So it can be an option to the 101. It does require a little bit more flexibility to plan your schedule and that type of thing. But you're able to sit on a Pacific Surfliner Amtrak train, enjoy the cafe car, their Wi-Fi service, and you stop at any number of different stops in Simi Valley, Moore Park, Camarillo, Oxnard, and Ventura. And there are all sorts of opportunities then from a visitor's standpoint to be able to launch from there.
And that's a great family outing, and to enjoy your trip out here. I think people would certainly agree with you on that.
No one can argue about the comfort of being able to take the train.
That's right. Also, what about the intercity bus service? That's another thing that you were certainly responsible for.
Yes, so several years ago, Ventura County as a whole looked at how we provide transit. And one of the roles that the Ventura County Transportation Commission accepted in this conversation looking out over all of Ventura County is we have a role to do the express commuter bus service. So you'll see our large blue over-the-road coaches that have a very sort of a distinct look and a very distinct purpose. The job is to, our job in that capacity is to provide express commuter service primarily focused towards workers. So we have a number of bus routes. One of our routes goes from Ventura to Santa Barbara. We have a route that goes from Ventura all the way to Woodland Hills. So we not just connect our communities within Ventura County. We connect into Los Angeles and Santa Barbara County. While many of Ventura County workers live and work in Ventura County, we have a number of our residents that leave Ventura County to go to work,
Right.
particularly Santa Barbara and Los Angeles.
Okay.
So that's our role with those, with our VCTC intercity bus service. It's a very affordable bus fare to be able, it's $2 to go one direction, to go from Ventura to Thousand Oaks. And
Yeah, that's really incredible.
it's quite the deal. We have Wi-Fi on our buses. It's a very comfortable ride. And believe it or not, we carry 1 million passengers a year
Yeah,
on
that's
that
great.
VCTC intercity bus service. So we're really proud of the progress we've made. I think we still have work to do when it comes to public transit in Ventura County. We could always do a better job of coordinating and planning amongst the different transit operators in our county, but we've made some great progress.
What about some of the future projects that you see? Being at the helm of this particular commission, I'm sure that there are many things you'd like to see change over the next couple of years. Are there some favorites that you would like to talk about?
Well, clearly the 101 again is going to be a
Right.
real linchpin project for all of Ventura County. That's very important for our economy and
Okay.
our quality of life. But we have other improvements that we'd like to see. There's a railroad bridge on Rice Avenue that connects to the Port of Hueneme. The Ventura County Transportation Commission recognizes the importance of the Port of Hueneme as a very much an economic engine, but we need to make sure that we're moving freight out of the port both safely and efficiently.
Okay.
And we have this one location at Rice Avenue where it's a $60 million bridge that's necessary there, and we don't have the funding to actually
Which
do
is
the
tough.
construction. I mean, that's going to be the thing that Sandra, that we wrestle with so much in our county, is that we have some really great plans, but it takes resources to make those plans happen.
Right.
And that's another example where we need somewhere on the order of $50 to $60 million to make that project a reality, so that we can move freight and continue to allow the Port of Hueneme to continue to grow. So that's another area. And I think when we start looking at both the public transit from a bus perspective or from rail, we'd always love to see expansion in that service to make sure that we're providing greater service to residents that choose to not want to use a car or
Right.
frankly don't have one.
Right, which is the case with a lot of students and seniors. You've got a lot of those people that rely on that public transportation system to get in and around where they have to go because they don't drive. So that is a critical point that you make about making that particular transportation available to them.
Yes, Sandra, as we look at what we call the silver tsunami, which is the
Really?
aging, the baby boomers
Okay.
that are going to become seniors,
Yeah.
at some point, the keys to the car will not be in their hands.
That's right.
And we are going to have to make sure that we allow for a service that provides mobility
Right.
to, the baby boomers, the most mobile generation our world has ever seen.
Yeah.
I expect they're going to continue to want to be mobile. They're not going to want to be latchkey seniors.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think, they really rely on getting around town. And if that particular transit service isn't available, you're going to have a lot of complaints.
Well, and there's no telling what services like Uber and Lyft, those types of
Right.
new technology services that are out there, those are game changers.
Right.
And we're still getting our arms around how those game changers are going to change our transportation system fundamentally for the foreseeable future.
Why don't you let people know the website that they can go to should they have more questions or look for answers on certain things that we've already discussed today?
That's a great question. So the Ventura County Transportation Commission's website
Okay.
is GoVentura, all one word,
Okay.
GoVentura.org. So GoVentura.org.
Okay, and what are some of the things we'll find on there? Different areas that we've discussed today?
All the things that we've talked about today and plenty more.
Good, good. Well, Darren, I want to thank you so very much for your time today and all the good work you're doing with the commission. I know our viewers will be very pleased to see the improvements that you're going to be making in the near future, too.
It's my pleasure.
Great.
Thank you.
And thank you all for joining us today on Our Ventura. I look forward to seeing you next time. And I'm Sandra Siepak. Bye, everyone.